What's going on, everybody? C4 here today. Continuing with the most ambitious series I've ever done on Beast Mode TV, I will be doing complete 7-round mock drafts for every team in the NFL, all the way from number 1, the 49ers, to number 32, and then every team that doesn't even have first-round picks, including the Patriots, Vikings, and LA Rams. I'll be trying my best to assess and address all of these teams' needs. I am an Eagle fan at heart, but I do watch a lot of football. So maybe I'll differentiate on opinion with some diehards if you're a diehard of said team. But feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below about where I may have gone wrong with the picks. And just feel free to shoot the shit. Send the video around if you enjoyed it to your fellow fans of the teams, because I'm trying to grow the channel here. And I want to attract all fan bases to come to Beast Mode TV, which is the #1 football channel that also plays a little bit of Madden on YouTube. So today, we are jumping right into things. Today, we will be looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are the 4th overall pick in this year's draft class. And once again, we will be talking about free agency, and they spent a lot of money in free agency, which has pretty much become their mantra the last couple off seasons. They've had the most salary cap. Why not go out and spend it? I think, maybe this will be the year that it puts them over the edge. I mean, last year, going into the preseason, the Raiders and the Jags were the two teams everyone thought had a chance to make the playoffs. The Raiders, up until Derek Carr got hurt, looked like Super Bowl contenders. The Jaguars, on the other hand, So we'll jump into everything here with Jacksonville. They were 3-13 last year, 23rd offensively, which is a big surprise. Took a big step back. But in terms of yards, defense, 6 overall. So, I mean, definitely a significant improvement there, but the offense was severely lacking. And in free agency this year, again, really just attacking the defensive side of the ball, hoping that it was just a one-year slump for their offense. Their MVP last season, I'm giving it to Jalen Ramsey. Some people, if there are Jags fans out there, you can let me know who you think your team's MVP was. But I thought you saw with Jalen Ramsey, that superstar potential that they use in the draft. Best pick. I think they absolutely destroyed the draft, which we'll take a touch on here before we jump into the 7-round mock. But Jalen Ramsey, man, looks like an absolute freak. And there's just this fluidity back in the secondary. He can play corner, he can play safety. Put him anywhere, he will ball out for you. Phenomenal pick, and he is definitely, in my opinion, the big franchise player on the defensive side of the ball for the Jaguars. So their needs going into free agency this year, I had running back as a question mark, tight end, offensive line / tackle, same thing, defensive back, and linebacker. I think you just strengthening up that defense, because with the offense, it's so, it all relies on Blake Bortles. Has he regressed, or was last year just a down year? Maybe he wasn't seeing eye to eye with Gus Bradley. Something like that. I don't know. Essentially, no. Much like the Panthers, the Jags are a team that, what the fuck happened? I don't know what's going on with the Jags. So, going to free agency, they were busy as always. They declined Kelvin Beachum, 2017 option. I'm giving that a B+. Too much money for Kelvin Beachum. They re-signed Chad Henne 1 year, $3.5 million. Solid backup with the uncertainty with Blake Bortles. I'm giving that a C. They re-signed Avery Jones, 4 year, $16 million. Giving that a C+. He was Pro Football Focus's number 10 defensive tackle against the run, and that's a fairly affordable contract, so not bad there. They traded for Brandon Albert for a 7th-round pick in 2018, and they essentially picked up a $9 million cap hit from the Miami Dolphins. Given that a C, they're still trying to find a working combination on the offensive line. I don't necessarily know if Brandon Albert's the option, but he's definitely went healthy. A solid tackle, maybe a little bit more upside than Luke Jokel, who they lost in free agency. They released Jared Odrick, which freed $8.5 million of cap. That's A. They released Davin House, $6 million of cap. Another A. They released Roy Miller, who's $4 million in cap. I'm giving that a B. Just kind of releasing money to make their big splashes in free agency. They also released Derek Marks, who was, one of their best players on the defensive side of the ball a couple years ago, that freed up $4.5 million. Give that a B-. But they signed 3 big players in free agency as of the 20th of March. Barry Church, 4 year, $26 million. Give him that C+. They needed a safety. They needed to recoup the loss from Jonathan Cyprien. And I think that does it. Barry Church has been a solid tackler for the Dallas Cowboys. Not a phenomenal playmaker in the secondary, but, neither was Jonathan Cyprien. He was more in the box safety, and I think you're going to be able to get that with Barry Church. They signed Calais Campbell, 4 year, $60 million deal. Give him that B-. That's a lot of money for a guy that's kind of not over the hill. He's still fairly good, but getting up there in age. But I assume that there would be. I didn't look the exact specifics of the contract. It's probably front-loaded, so they'll be able to get out of it. Obviously as a regression. He's 30 years old, so probably 32. They'll probably be able to look away to get out of that contract. But while he's there, man, I assume he's going to play defensive tackle. So him, you got Malik Jackson, Dante Fowler, Yannick Ngakoue. That is a very good defensive line. And then they signed A.J. Boye, 5 years, $67.5 million deals. I'm giving that a B. I mean, if you take it for what it's worth at its value after his play last season, that's good. They got debatably the best free agent in this year's offseason. But as an Eagle fan, I can tell you, Jaguar fans, I mean, you saw with Dalvin House, you don't always get what you pay for, especially in the secondary in free agency. So there is a lot of concern over AJ Boye. As an Eagle fan, we were linked with him. I would not have paid him anywhere near this kind of money. But then again, the Jags have a lot more salary cap space than we do. So it works out for you. I definitely want to see the Jaguars make a playoff run and be very competitive in the AFC South next year. And Boye, along with Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun Gibson, can go a long way. Because basically you got to look at his AJ Boye as an upgrade over Amukamara, who they lost, and I definitely think that he is. So before we jump into the 7th round mock, let's take a look at what they did last year in 2016 and, kind of get a feeling of that front office and how I feel about them drafting. So they got Jalen Ramsey in the 1st round, Miles Jack in the 2nd round, Yannick Ngakoue in the 3rd round. Those 3 guys there are going to be 3 starters for quite some time, I believe, for the Jaguars on the defensive side of the ball. Jack slipped. He was a projected 1st round pick. Projected top 10 pick before the injury concerns. So they got 2 essentially top 10 picks on the defensive side of the ball. I think Miles Jack's role on that defense will improve significantly here in the 2017-2018 season. They also got Sheldon Day, defensive tackle from Notre Dame, solid pick. They got Brandon Allen, the quarterback in the 6th round, who's most famously known for my Toronto Huskies selected franchise mode, which will be coming soon. Obviously, with all the draft videos, my franchise modes had to take a quick little break, but they will be coming back in full force sooner than later. So Brandon Allen, a beast there. So I was very impressed with what the Jags did last season in 2016. So let's see how I have them mocking if I take over for them in 2017, how things are going to work out. So with the first pick in the 1st round pick, 4th overall, I have them going with Leonard Fournette, the running back from LSU, the freak himself. 4.51 at the combine. Didn't jump particularly well, but who gives a blue shit about how far a running back can jump? 6 feet tall, 240 pounds. Consensus, NFL comparison is Bo Jackson. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I mean, that's the kind of praise Leonard Fournette is getting. Now here, I'm going to say right now, Fournette, I think they'll go Leonard Fournette just because he's that big of a game changer, and he's probably the biggest game changer, but he, in my opinion, while being the best running back in this year's draft class, is not the perfect fit for the Jaguars. I think Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook, those kind of guys, are more of a fit than the Jaguars. Hear me out. Because if you get Leonard Fournette, you're going to have to retool your offense. I know they have the former Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, so maybe they're going to switch to a thing, like a kind of offensive style like that. But I think with the playmakers that you already have on the Jags, be it Blake Bortles, Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, Marquise Lee, those guys there, they don't really go into the game planning and the strategy of a run-first offense. And if you draft Leonard Fournette, you're going to have to commit to the run. So I really think that the Jags are a team that want a complementary run game more so than a run game first because you have all those weapons on the outside. And I think with Leonard Fournette, you're going to have to see a change in dynamic there. But maybe that's what they need because obviously last year there was an utter failure on the offensive side of the ball. Be it Blake Bortles, bringing in Leonard Fournette could take off a lot of pressure off Blake Bortles' shoulders to throw the ball a lot. But I just think maybe a guy that has better hands that can be more utilized in the passing game might be a little bit more beneficial. But then again, Leonard Fournette is a once-in-a-generational talent. If healthy, this guy stays healthy for the first 5-6 years of his career. There's 5-6 potential Pro Bowls that he may earn. Well, because Pro Bowls don't mean anything. 5-6 potential All-Pro nods. I think Leonard Fournette is the best running back I've seen since. I actually think I might have to edge him ahead of Todd Gurley for the best running back that I've seen coming to college since Adrian Peterson. So obviously, like I said, I think a guy like Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook that can be more utilized in the pass game could be a better pick, but Fournette at 4, you can't go wrong. They need to address that run game. Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon aren't getting it done. And I guess those guys can catch. Yeldon caught 40, 50 touches. He can catch the ball in the backfield and use as a complementary option if need be. So then in the 2nd round, pick 35, after going to the offensive line, that's something they need to continue to work on, is the offensive line. Why? Well, because it's not that good. That's definitely an area that they can continue to improve upon. They got Brandon Albert at left tackle. That's a kind of a band-aid. Their left guard, Omema, who the hell is that guy? You got Brandon Linder at center, who's solid. A.J. Cann at right guard, who I thought when he was coming on the draft, I thought he was my number 3 interior offensive lineman. And Jerry Purnell at right tackle. So I think the 2 tackle spots could look to get upgraded. Pretty much everywhere outside of center is fluid. You can get some players there. So with pick 35, after going after debatably the top interior offensive lineman who's going to slip here a little bit, thanks to Forrest Lamp. And Dan Feeney, out of the University of Indiana, 5'2", 440, 26 reps on the bench press, 7. Actually had one of the top 3 cone drills for an offensive lineman, showing his agility. I think a guy like him, pro comparison is Clint Bowling of the Where's bowling at? The Cincinnati Bengals. I think a guy like Dan Feeney, phenomenal for running. Now you need to build in the mold of Leonard Fournette. You added Leonard Fournette. Now get it players in the pieces that can help Leonard Fournette succeed. And I think a guy like Dan Feeney could start at either guard spot. I think more so the left guard, unless, there's a Jags family that's like, oh, Omama is way better than AJ Cann. But you can't go wrong here with going offensive lineman. I think that's what they have to improve. They use free agency to improve the defensive side of the ball. I still think maybe you could add some linebacking depth or just general defensive line depth. Everyone can always add depth there. But I think you have to use your money picks in the draft to address the offensive side of the ball. Then you got Fournette with the first pick. Now improve that offensive line with tremendous, tremendous value in Dan Feeney here in the second round. Jump to the third round. There might be a hole at tight end. I don't think everyone's hoping for, the big redemption season of Mercedes Lewis. He's up there in age. So, in the third round, another tremendous value in the mold, almost like a Miles Jack last year, where the pick was almost too good. You got to get it for the upside. Third round pick, 68. I'm getting Jake Butt, the tight end from Michigan. Hilarious name that he plays tight end, and his name is Jake Butt. But if he didn't get hurt in his in the bowl game, which brings, that's a whole nother debate. Should guys that are projected first, second round picks really play in their bowl games if it's not, a big time championship opportunity? But Jake Butt, if he didn't get hurt, he would probably be the second top tight end in this year's draft class after O.J. Howard. He would be ahead of guys like Evan Ingram and David Njoku. So I think in the third round, because of a torn ACL injuries, more often than not, guys can come back from that. So I think in the third round, Jake Butt, a kind of guy that if he's ready for the beginning of the preseason, he could easily carve out a role to be the starting tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And getting that kind of value in the third round, much like Dan Feeney in the second round, too good to pass up here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So moving on to the fourth round at pick 110, I'm going with Will Holden, the offensive tackle from Vanderbilt. Incredible athlete. I don't know if you guys trust Spark Score too much, but I think he had the second highest out of all offensive tackles, or offensive linemen even, for this year's draft class. 6'7", 311 pounds, 4'7", 40, or 5'7", 40. 5'4", 740. Sounded out there, C4. 23 reps on the bench press. But I think a guy like Will Holden, incredible versatility. Probably more so a right tackle than a left tackle. But you already have your left tackle, you'd assume, in Braden Howard. That's why you traded for him. So at right tackle, I think he can come in right now and compete with Jerry Parnell for some snaps. I think Parnell probably will end up being the starter there. But I think Will Holden has plenty of upside, and that's what you need to get right now. You need to continue to build and get guys in the backfield, in the backfield of the offensive lineman. Guys waiting in the wings in the depth that could eventually come over and take over for some, meh looking offensive lineman that they have starter right now in 2017. Moving to the fifth round, pick 148. I'm addressing some linebacking depth, and they get Ben Gideon, the inside linebacker from the University of Michigan, 4'7", 40, 27 reps on the bench press, and killed his 60 and 20-yard shuttle. I think with him, this is more so you're looking at depth. You got, the Paul Posluszny era is slowly coming to an end. Father Time gets the best of us, and Paul Posluszny has been one of the best tackle machines in the NFL quite some time. But now it's time to invest youth in here at the linebacker spot. You're assuming their starters are going to be Telvin Smith, Paul Posluszny, and Miles Jack next year. But everyone else outside of that is kind of old. Not a lot of upside in Audie Cole, Dan Skuta. Who the hell? Dan Skuta. Why'd you pay for him from the 49ers? So I think a guy like Ben Gideon, who, is your tough, hard-nosed, 6'2", 244 pounds, almost prototypical build inside linebacker, will be a guy that could come in and learn a bunch from Paul Posluszny and eventually, be there with the upside to take over Paul Posluszny when the time is there. Moving on to the sixth round pick, 187. This is a guy that a lot of people think could be a sleeper for a nickel corner spot in the NFL, and that's Shajorn Shelton, the corner from Wisconsin, 5'9", 177 pounds, 4'5", 140. Had almost a 4-second flat 20-yard shuttle. Very impressive there. But nickel corner, I don't see really a great nickel corner right now on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got Jalen Ramsey, who I guess could play a little bit nickel, but you definitely want him to match up man on the outside. A.J. Boye. And then who's their starting nickel? Aaron Colvin, perhaps? But even then, I still think they continue to add some depth to their defensive secondary back there. And Shajorn Shelton has plenty of upside. I think he had 4 interceptions last year, 12 pass breakups, plays very, very feisty. He's one of those feisty, undersized players. And I think he could, be similar to what the Baltimore Ravens got last year in Tavon Young at a Temple. So I think Shelton in the sixth, great value. Moving to the 7th round, pick 222. I think getting Sam Rogers, the fullback from Virginia Tech. If you're going to get Leonard Fournette, you might as well switch and transition to a play fullback. Get some eye out there. That's what you need for Leonard Fournette. Get him a lead blocker so that Fournette can wreak havoc on the guys in the secondary, the guys in the linebacking core. He's going to jack most of these guys up. So get a guy like Sam Rogers, regarded as the top fullback, 4'9", 40, 19 reps on the bench press. Not a primarily block first, but he's going to be a great special teamer. And I think, in terms of, I think you have to run a little bit out of the eye. They have the former OC, from Nathan Hackett from the Buffalo Bills. They ran a lot of fullback out of the eye set with Jerome Felton. Sam Rogers makes perfect sense because I don't really see a fullback on the Jags roster as it stands right now. And then finishing with pick number 240, I have them going after D'Angelo Brown, the defensive tackle from Louisville. Didn't attend the combine, but I think there's some upside there. 6 feet tall, 310 pounds. Last year started all 12 games for Louisville. 12.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks from the defensive tackle spot. I think he's a projected sleeper, and you bring him in for some defensive tackle depth because right now you have, I think that second spot's open. Unless they really, plan on moving Calais Campbell inside, he could compete right away with Mike Bennett and Sheldon Day for some starting snaps. Well, not starting snaps, but more so rotational snaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive line. But I think D'Angelo Brown is one of my sleepers in this year's draft class. So there you go, guys. That is my 7-round mock and free agency grades for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If this is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment in the comment section below, please. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Look for 150 likes. And tomorrow... Actually, there's going to be a little break because tomorrow is the Realistic Rebuild, the finale. So on Saturday, the Tennessee Titans video will be out, and stay tuned for the Jags Rookies Madden gameplay. So until next time, guys, it's C4 saying peace out.